Good morning, everyone. My name's Tyler. I'm from the Life Long-Term Care and Annuity Department here at IED. And as many of you know, I'm bringing on one of our strategic partners and myself to go over this powerful sales tool that's available to you folks who are contracted through IED. Pre-built PowerPoint with notes and slides that you can present to prospects and clients that revolve around the long-term care space. Now, our strategic partner, Chris, is kind of going to go through slide by slide what each one's about, kind of how it's presented, and give you some type of template to use with prospects. So with that, Chris, I'll let you go ahead and I'll control the slides on my end here.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad you're all here listening because right now in this industry, this is a hot topic with the with the public out there, right? It's quasi kind of a scary topic too, because none of us really want to think of having to go into one of these nursing homes, right? We really hope to keep ourselves healthy. We hope to um, be able to control our destiny, so to speak, right? And the cool thing is for each and every one of you as advisors that go out on a daily basis and hit the pavement and talk to people, right? You got to make sure to be proud and talk about the story of how you help people. And right now, one of these big ones is talking about planning for long-term care. Now, my swing on it, the way I look at this is the impact of somebody needing a long-term care stay is much greater than each of us having our own need for autonomy and to be able to do stuff ourselves, if that makes sense to you, right? Um, we need to understand as advisors when we speak with our clients that we're not speaking with just them. We're doing our best to speak with their alpha child, and we're making sure that these alpha childs understand how this stuff can affect them. And I just said childs when I should have said children. Sorry about that. Tyler, if you could click to the next page and kind of get up my bullet points on what I'm going to talk about today a little bit. So, when I go through sort of the core of this presentation, and I want each of you to understand this is a presentation that you can use through your relationship with IAD. Okay. Um, IAD works hard to get this stuff put together for you, and so you have the tools to be successful out there. But this presentation, what it allows us to do is go through and make sure that everybody understands what really is considered long-term care, right? Here's the big one. Why should I consider long-term care as part of my retirement strategy? Okay. What are the options? When's it needed? What are the questions you need to go through? And what are the next steps as you do that? But what I want you to understand is when you look at the picture that's put up here, we're not just showing old people, right? We're showing people that are vibrant. We're showing people that have grandchildren. We're showing their children. This is an impact that affects all of these generations. And you need to make sure that those that you talk to understand that. Okay. Go ahead, Tyler. Move. So, when we start talking about long term care, right, this is what we all want to know is what are some of the options? What is it? How does it work? Well, there's essentially in the scope of long-term care, there's really two methods, right? There's the informal method, which is at home, family, friends, community, things of the such. Then there's the formal methods where we sort of people graduate or move along and need more care, assisted living, nursing homes, qualified in-home care, adult daycare, right? These are sort of what we're looking at. So what we need to know when we talk to our clients is, hey, what are you hoping to happen? Aside from the obvious, nobody wants to deal with any of this stuff, but what are you hoping to happen? Most people are going to say, hey, I want to be at home. I'm hoping I could get the care at home that I need, right? I'm hoping that with that care, um, you know, it doesn't need to be extraordinarily expensive. So these are things that people are thinking about, but we got to make sure they understand what the problem is, right? Tyler, move on, please. We need to understand that the problem is the cost, right? The problem is the cost. The premium or the money that they set aside, that's the solution. Please make sure in your brain that you're thinking about it that way. But let's look at some numbers, right? 2 out of 3 people age 65 or older are going to have a need for long-term care. That's a 70% chance. 4.3 years. If you get past the initial elimination period, you get past the initial 90-day period of time, on average, you're going to need care for 4.3 years. Okay? 4.3 years. Now, there's another whole part of this that comes into play. And what that is folks that get dementia, Alzheimer's, these sort of situations, these people generally can live for 4 to 8 years where they're getting care. And there have been people that live 20 or 30 years with it. Okay. And again, folks, why is it so important that we realize that this is part of our retirement strategy? Is um, let's not think so like right in a macro or a micro view of just me. Think in a macro view of where you're thinking, this is not me. This is me and my spouse. This is me, my spouse, and the inheritance that I wanted to leave to my children and grandchildren. These are things that people need to think about on how this affects your retirement. Tyler, move on. So, right here, how will it affect my family and retirement strategy, right? Where should I consider receiving the care based upon that? What's the cost and what are the options to cover that cost? Listen, folks, our clients that we talk to, we're hoping to talk to people that have money, right? None of us are going to be able to make a living talking with people that don't have money. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't need care. That doesn't mean that I'm acting as if they're not as valuable as other people. I'm simply saying, don't look at this as a prospect of, oh my God, my clients don't have the money for that. Well, I'm here to tell you, and I'm sorry to say this, but if you want to move forward, make a living for yourself, and you want to be able to retire someday, you need to make sure that you get outside your comfort zone and that you're talking with people that have the money to take care of these needs, right? You need to make sure. But on the flip side, I want to let you know Tyler and the good guys over there at IAD. I work a lot with a guy named Bernard. They have lots of options for you that are able to work with people that don't have tons of money. You could do some of this where it's paid on a monthly basis. Okay. So keep your options open always. But let's also remember with how can this affect my family? As a rep, don't think of this as, oh my God, I'm talking to the 65-year-old and that's who I'm dealing with. Hey, you want to know something? You might want to talk to their child. Might be a perfect time for their child to get involved and to do something for him or herself. Tyler? So, how can it affect you, right? Well, informal, who's providing the care? Formal, who's going to oversee the process? What's paying for it? Insurance, portfolio asset. If it's an asset, is that an asset that was going to be used for retirement income? Is that asset subject to taxation or market downturns? Listen, here's the thing, folks. I need each of you to know this. This is a stat. Write this statistic down. 80% of all care in the first 2 years is done at home. 80% of all care in the first 2 years is done at home. What makes this statistic really jump is this: the person giving that care. Almost exclusively, it's the oldest daughter or daughter in law that is giving that care. All right. So I just gave an example. Okay. I just gave an example. You're talking to a 65-year-old. Most people, I know not all, but let's just take on average a 20-year spread between mom, dad, and child. So if we got 65-year-old parents, we got 45-year-old kids. If we got a 70-year-old parent, we got 50-year-old kids. Give or take, let's all go on this scenario. That 50-year-old oldest daughter is now probably working, probably helping to provide for the retirement of her and her husband and her family. She's probably looking forward to getting to that retirement for herself at some point to go hang out with pina coladas and palm trees, right? She's looking forward to that. Now, 2 out of 3 people, 70%, 65 and older, are going to need care. 80% of that care is done at home right off the bat. Holy smokes. Mom or dad now needs care. Oldest daughter now has to take a leave of absence from work. Maybe she doesn't do that right away. Maybe she's still working, but she's hustling over to mom and dad's in the morning before work. And then after work, she's hustling over there. Maybe she has to start leaving work early. Then it turns into a leave of absence. Now, what does all this turn into? What this all turns into is stress for that daughter. The inability to take care of herself on what she had always done, the inability to go see her children who might be part of sports teams or something through high school, right? But the biggest thing is she's losing income because now she's out of work. She's leaving work early. She's doing stuff. It's impacting her family's ability to retire. Understand this. This situation does not impact just the person going in. It impacts that person's wife, right? Or husband. Listen, let's do a real quick thing on cost, right? I got cost up here. Let's just talk about cost on an average of, let's just call it $5,000 a month, which it's more than that. $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, 4 years. What is that? $240,000 plus another 3 months, which is another 15,000 on average. We're talking $255,000 on the low side, on the extremely low side for this care. Now, if your client had been fortunate enough to work and be able to save money and have retirement income, and let's just say they saved $500,000. Let's say that's the number that they have. Well, $255,000 of that money's gone. Now, you know what that means for the spouse that's left behind? That means now him or her's retirement plans that they had of traveling, of going and watching grandkids accomplish goals, of going and watching grandkids graduate, or quite frankly, of keeping her or his own autonomy in their own home. All this stuff becomes unaffordable. Okay. It's a tragic situation when things like that happen. Let's make sure that our clients understand. Let's make sure that each and every one of you on this call understand that you have the ability to help this not happen by simply stepping out of your comfort zone and making sure that you ask people a very simple question. Are you aware of the severe impact a long-term care stay or need will have upon those you love? So when you get them into this conversation, what are we talking about? Who's going to give the care, right? Keep clicking those things, Tyler, so they come up. Who's giving the care? Where's the care being given? How long will the care be needed? At what age is care needed, right? These are a bunch of ifs. When you're talking to them, what are the costs of homemaker services, adult daycare, assisted living, nursing home, right? There's costs to all this stuff. Please move on, Tyler. Folks, I want you to understand I have a guideline here of stuff to touch on. I become passionate about this, as I'm sure some of you have had this happen within your family or might know somebody. It's a tough thing, okay? Now, if somebody doesn't have money, we don't look at it as such a tough situation because you have Medicare and Medicaid that'll step in and go ahead and help cover stuff, right? But hey, listen, if you think Medicaid's going to cover mom and dad, aunt and uncle, grandma and grandpa, or your neighbor, they're not going to cover them unless they're broke, unless they're desolate, unless they don't have any money, right? Here's what's going to happen if they're married and they have money. They're going to make them pay for it out of pocket until and at which time they have the numbers different, inflation, state to state, the whole deal, but roughly 100 to $125,000 a home and a car is all the person that's left behind or the person that's not in the home, that's all they can keep. So if they got $500,000 in cash, they got to spend it down to where they only have 100 to 125,000, and then Medicaid will pick up the cost. Oh, that's great, right? Not really, because the other spouse that's left behind now has to figure out, because how am I going to pay property taxes? How am I going to pay my insurance? How am I going to do all this with one? All my money is virtually gone. Two, my income just went down because I don't have two social securities, but only one, plus any other income that might have come from the spouse that was in the home and now passed away, right? These are how I look at it. And these are how you need to discuss with your client that, hey, you've worked hard throughout your life. You raised your children. You did a good job for all intensive purposes. And you want to know what you did? By making good, smart decisions on, you didn't go out and buy a pair of jeans, right? You didn't go out and look at that rack and say, hey, listen, this pair of blue jeans right here are $50 and this pair over here are $80. They're effectively the same pair of jeans. I'm going to buy the one for 80. No, you didn't. You made a smart decision and you bought the one for $50, right? You didn't go out and buy a new car and just listen to the car salesman and have him say to you, "Yeah, this new Buick's going to cost $38,000." And you didn't just say, "All right, I'll give you $38,000." You haggled with the guy. Did you or did you not? Yes, you did. You made smart decisions. You did what you could to save money throughout your lifetime. Why now are we not going to make a smart decision? Why are we going to choose to pay full boat, right? You have the ability to show them the solution to saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on this cost and keeping the money that they've earned and saved within their family. Okay. So if it's not going to be covered by a public program, right? Self-funding, right? There's an option, which I kind of just talked a little bit about, but you hear me continue to talk about this self-fund. You have risks, right? Market volatility, inflation. You have all those sort of risks. Tyler, move on, please. Click through. There's some things are going to pop up on the bottom. When we talk about self-funding, right? What we're going to talk about is where could this money come from and what are some of the situations? Let's just say that your client's done well, right? Done well. You got a husband and wife, they got their home paid off, they got two rental properties out there, they got $700,000 sitting in the bank and in retirement accounts and things of the such, right? Well, here's what their take is. You sit down, you talk to him, and he says, you know what? I really think that we're going to be able to handle this ourselves. I'd rather not pay the premium to go ahead and put that risk on the insurance company. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk about this. So, first of all, if you go into a nursing home and it goes ahead and it's costing $10,000 a month, you're going to have to pull $10,000 a month out of your savings or money market accounts, right? That's what you got to do. And once you drain that money, okay, once you drain that, now we're going to start looking at annuities or IRAs, right? That's what we're going to start looking at. Now, when we take that money out, we're going to have to take more than $10,000 out, right? Because those things are taxable. So if we're in a 28% tax bracket, rough numbers, you're going to have to take out $13,000 to cover the taxes to end up with $10,000 to pay that bill. Now keep in mind that $13,000 that you pull out now is going to impact the taxation on your Social Security that your wife's trying to live on with her stuff. Okay. We run through that, or we don't have that. We got stocks, bonds, mutual funds, right? Well, hey, we got a great portfolio of funds and bonds and stocks and the whole thing. We got 500 grand. You know what? The year you go in, the market goes down. Our 400 grand now is only worth $420,000. But that doesn't mean that you still haven't made any money, right? Your stocks and bonds really did good. They grew, man. They grew. You only put 250,000 in there. Your money doubled to 500. The market's down. It's only worth 420, but you still got gain in there. Now, when you take the money out, you still got to pay taxes on the gain. Oh man, we're going to talk real estate. I got renters in there. I got my two rental properties paid off, right? They're paid off. I got renters in there. That money's gravy. I'll use that money to pay my long-term care on a monthly basis. First of all, assuming that the rent that you're taking in is $10,000 a month, right? But secondly, what if one of those people all of a sudden, you know what they do? Because everything happens at the perfect time. They say, you know what? I'm done renting. I'm going to go buy a house now. Now you got an empty building sitting there that's not generating any passive income for you, right? Folks, I hope that you could see. I know what I just said was the perfect storm. The point I'm making is earlier in my presentation, we talked about the ifs. We got to know about the ifs. Well, what if? All right, let's look at the next thing that we got here, right? Now let's talk about some ways. If we've gone through and we've been able to disrupt their idea about self-funding, what are some of the insurance options that they could look at? Well, folks, these right here, I want to let you know, these are the options. You got traditional long-term care, okay? Traditional long-term care is tedious. It's going to reimburse for qualified care. If you have that and you need in-home care, it's going to have to be done by a nurse. Okay, that's chosen through a list from the insurance company. Okay. You go into the nursing home, you'll be able to coordinate the benefits, they'll pay what they're going to pay. End of story, that's that. But let's talk about traditional long-term care. There is a couple of big bugaboos with them. One, it's health insurance. What does health insurance do each and every year? The premium goes up, right? So, traditional long-term care. Well, what could the premium go up? A few bucks? No. 60, 70, 80% increases. Or hey, you can't pay that? We'll chop into your benefits and lower your benefits. Great. Great. This is all great stuff. And this is why that industry, people aren't going there anymore. It's been getting more and more and more every year. Just saw a statistic. I'll try to see if I could find that. 71% of all long-term care products bought today are one of the following two options. Okay. Life insurance. Yep. Life insurance with a long-term care rider. Listen, long-term care insurance, traditional LTCs, use it or lose it. It's expensive and it's a very risky proposition. Life insurance with a long-term care rider, you choose your benefit. You choose what you want to pay within a realm. If you don't use it and you pass away, all your premium is going to go back to your beneficiaries in the form of a death benefit, which is going to be leveraged and be much more than the premium you paid. Okay. You can see my bullets, the premium's flexible, right? It's not going to increase. The other nice thing is it can be used for formal or informal care. Very flexible. Okay, linked benefit plans. I don't know if you understand what these are. Maybe you've heard of One America, Lincoln Money Guard. Some of the best ones I work with, Nationwide, Secure Care. There's a lot of great companies out there that have great benefits, okay? And these things can be paid anywhere from being paid for life to pay to 65 to a single pay, 5 pay, 10 pay, many different options. But the bottom line, this plan is going to work very much like traditional long-term care, except for one thing: your premium is locked in. There's a return of premium in some format, and it's not use or lose it, right? So let's go ahead and let's click forward here, Tyler. Keep clicking. Traditional long-term care, that's what you got. Life insurance with long-term care, here's the deal. If you need it, you get the long-term care benefit. If you pass away, you get the regular benefit that pays out. Keep moving on. Linked benefit, we're going to see 3 buckets here, right? We got our long-term care bucket. You'll notice it's a big one. We got our death benefits, a little bit smaller. Return of premiums just going to be that premium. Okay. Folks, there's a lot of stuff that you could do, a lot of ways that you could design these to really fit a lot of the needs of your clients out there. Keep moving on, Tyler. So notice this presentation here, guys and ladies and gents. When we look at this here, this is a presentation that you could use that's actually geared towards your clients. Okay. I kind of geared it towards you guys a little bit, but if you could think of each and every one of you as a prospect, that's how you could talk to them about it and work your way through. But understand, this right here really shows when you get to the end, when you're using this as a way to go through and do this, you need to tell your client, what are the next steps? Well, here's what you got to do. I need you and your alpha child, whoever that might be, oldest daughter, oldest son, I don't know who it is, but you need to think about a written strategy. You need to put down what you want to happen. You then need to get that to me. Okay? You need to get that to me so I could then use that to help see what type of strategy we're going to put together and how we're going to fund it. I want you to understand, when you're talking to your client, you let them know this here. Your funding, that's the solution. That's going to turn around and take all of the risks that we just spoke about. It's going to take it off of your shoulders, off of your spouse's shoulders, and off your children's shoulders, and off of your grandchildren's shoulders. It's going to take it off of everybody's shoulders, and it's going to lay it smack dab on the shoulders of the insurance company. And the best part about it is you're going to be able to do something to take their money. You're going to turn $1 into $3. Depending on age and when they do it, you might turn $1 into $4. You're going to leverage these dollars for these clients. And so when they put this together, they need to get an understanding of what do they want to cover, right? What type of care, all that sort of fun stuff. This is the one thing where I want to tell each and every single one of you that's on this webinar today. Tyler, you could go to the next page. That's on this today is this. Do not think with every one of your clients that you're going to have to cover 100% of that need. They're going to want to, you're going to want to, but very few people are going to have the assets to fully cover that need. What you want to do is talk to them about, we're going to mitigate risk. We're going to take some of that risk off of your shoulders and put it on the insurance company. We're going to ease the stress on your other assets. Let's just imagine this. So you get a plan put together that's going to pay $5,000 a month. The first 2 years, that care is done at home, right? The first 2 years, generally, it's done at home by the oldest daughter or daughter-in-law. Hey, our plans are going to be able to pay them money. That's right. This sort of plan is going to be able to, it's an indemnity type plan. It's literally, you qualify, it's going to pay $5,000 a month into your bank account. You now can give your daughter $2,000 a month or whatever you see fit because she's coming over and helping to recoup what she loses. The 3,000 left over, you could just stick that in your bank account for and when possibly needed in the future. Okay? There's a lot of flexibility and a lot of things that the good folks over at IAD are able to help you with this. Please talk to them. Please prospect for this. Please know that this is going to build a bubble of protection around your business and around the assets of your clients. Do this and make sure that everybody you talk to, you're asking them that question. Okay. Anyway, thanks everybody, and understand that this is a very free flowing presentation that you could use it in many different ways. Tyler, thanks for letting me speak.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Chris. And yeah, that was a great presentation of how this tool works. Again, folks, this is something that you can implement. You get enough handful of people together, someone from IED, myself, or Bernard would be able to present this to your prospects for you as well, whether it be on a webinar or what have you. Now, some of our agents in the past have had success using this platform, so I encourage you, I'll give you guys all a call after this, and you'll have access to this tool here. But I guess if anyone has any questions, I know everyone's got a tight day, feel free to email me, shoot them my way, or leave them in chat while we have a second here, and I'll be happy to answer them, but I'll be calling you guys as well. So other than that, thanks a lot, Chris, for coming on today and delivering this presentation for us. And guys, remember, this is a powerful tool. You know, if you've had folks in the past that have told you no, or they're not ready right now, call them, get them together, get 3, 4, 5 of them together to sit down and listen to this long-term care presentation. The best part is the first time that's not on you, I can present that for you. All right, then. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.